Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is the lecture 3 of physics for class 9. The name of the unit is Physical Quantities and Measurement. But first, let's have a recap of lecture number 2. In the previous lecture, we studied about scientific notation, measuring instruments, in which we studied about meter rule, measuring tape, vernier calipers, and screw gauge. In this lecture, we will study about mass measuring instruments. In the figure, a beam balance is shown. Pots were used to measure grains in various parts of the world in ancient times. However, balances were also in use by Greeks and Romans. Beam balances, such as in the figure, are still in use at many places. In a beam balance, the unknown mass is placed in one pan. It's balanced by putting known masses in the other pan. Today, people use many types of mechanical and electronic balances. You might have seen electronic balances in sweets and grocery shops. These are more precise than beam balances and are easy to handle. Physical balance. Physical balance is shown in the figure. Usually, a physical balance is used in a laboratory to measure the mass of various objects by comparison. It consists of a beam resting at a center on a fulcrum as shown in the figure. A beam carries scale pans over the hooks on the either side. Unknown mass is placed on the left pan. Find some suitable standard masses that cause the pointer to remain at 0 on raising the beam as shown in the figure. Let's see the figure. That is the beam which is resting at the fulcrum, and this is the pointer. Here we have got the scale, and below it we are having the arrestment knobs. With the help of this knob, we can raise the beam. Here we have got the pans. This is the left pan and this one is the right one. These pans are hanged with the hooks. The unknown mass is placed in the left pan and the standard masses of known mass are placed in the right pan. Whatever the value of the standard masses when the arrestment knobs is raised and the pointer is at the 0 position will show the actual value of the unknown mass. That is how we can measure the value of the unknown mass by using a physical balance. Lever balance and electronic balance. A lever balance such as shown in this figure 1.15 consists of a system of levers. When levers is lifted, placing the object in one pan and standard masses on the other pan, the pointer of the lever system moves. The pointer is brought to 0 by varying standard masses. Electronic balances. It is shown in the figure as well. It's figure 1.16. This is electronic balance. It comes in various ranges, milligram ranges, gram ranges, and kilogram ranges. Before measuring the mass of a body, it is switched on and its reading is set to 0. Next, place the object to be weighed. The reading on the balance gives you the mass of the body placed over it. It is more precise. Now we are going to study about another measuring instrument, a stopwatch. A stopwatch is used to measure the time interval of an event. There are two types of stopwatches, mechanical and digital stopwatch, which are shown in the figure. A mechanical stopwatch can measure a time interval up to a minimum 0.1 second, means the accuracy of mechanical stopwatch is 0.1 second. Digital stopwatches commonly used in the laboratories can measure a time interval as small as 1/100 second or 0.01 second. Now I will tell you how we can use the stopwatch. First of all, we will discuss about mechanical stopwatch. Mechanical stopwatch has a knob that is used to wind the spring that powers the watch. It can also be used as a start, stop, and reset button. The watch starts when the knob is pressed once. When pressed second time, it stops the watch, while the third press brings the needle back to 0 position. The digital stopwatch starts to indicate the time lapsed as the start-stop button is pressed. As soon as the start-stop button is pressed again, It stops and indicates the time interval recorded by it between start and stop of an event. The reset button restores its initial 0 setting. Okay students, now we will study about measuring cylinder. In the figure 1.19, you can see these cylinders. These are known as measuring cylinder. A measuring cylinder is a glass or transparent plastic cylinder. It has a scale along its length that indicates the volume in milliliter. ml means milliliter. Measuring cylinders have different capacities from 100 ml to 250 ml. Again, ml means milliliters. They are used to measure the volume of the liquid or powdered substance. It is also used to find the volume of an irregular shaped solid insoluble in a liquid by displacement method. The solid is lowered into the measuring cylinder containing water or any liquid you can have. The level of the water or any liquid rises. The increase in the volume of the water or liquid is the volume of the given solid object. How to use a measuring cylinder? In the figure 1.19, you can see the measuring cylinders. Now I will tell you how to use it. While using a measuring cylinder, it must be kept vertical on the plane surface. It means that the surface on which the measuring cylinder is placed must not be uneven. Pour some water into it. Note that the surface of the water is curved. As you can see the surface of the liquid, it will be curved. The meniscus of most liquids curves downward. For example, in case of water, the meniscus means level of liquid. The level of liquid most of the time is downward. Only the mercury is, because of its density is very high, will be having a meniscus in the upward direction, means that it will be shown as upper curved surface. The correct method to note the level of the liquid in a cylinder is to keep the eye at the same level, just like that your eye should exactly be in front of the meniscus. In the case of curve downward, we will read the lower meniscus, and in the case of mercury, we will read the upper meniscus. But for example, in the case of the colored liquids, we will see the level of the liquid in such a way that our eye must be exactly in front of the reading, or you can say that with the cylinder it should be perpendicular. Now the correct method to note the level of the liquid in a cylinder is to keep the eye at the same level as the meniscus of the liquid, which is already shown in the figure. It is incorrect to note the liquid level keeping the eye above the level of the liquid, just like that. If you will see from the upper hand side, you will not be able to take the correct reading. When the eye is above the liquid level, the meniscus appears higher on the scale. So it means that the reading in such a way will be incorrect. Similarly, when the eye is below the liquid level, the meniscus appears lower than the actual height of the liquid. Now we will study that how we can use measuring cylinder for the measurement of volume of an irregular shaped solid. Measuring cylinder can be used to find the volume of a small irregular shaped solid that sinks in water. Let us find the volume of small stone. Take some water in a graduated measuring cylinder. Graduated means there must be a scale on it. Note the volume Vi, the initial volume of water in the cylinder. Tie the solid with a thread. Lower the solid into the cylinder till it is fully immersed in water. Note the volume Vf of water. Vf stands for final volume, and the solid, that will be the combined volume. Then the volume of the solid will be delta V is equals to Vf, the final volume minus the initial volume. That is how we can find out the volume of an irregular shaped solid by using measuring cylinder. With the help of the next, I am going to show you the video with the help of which you will be able to understand the method of finding the volume of an irregular shaped solid. I hope you will enjoy it.
Centimeters. To measure the volume of an irregularly shaped object, such as a rock, measure the volume of the liquid displaced when the object is submerged. To do this, measure the initial volume of water in a graduated cylinder. Submerge the irregular object and measure the final volume of the water. The difference between the initial volume and the final volume is the volume of the object. In this example, the initial volume is 50 milliliters. Dropping the rock in the graduated cylinder causes the water level to rise. The final volume is 81 2/10 milliliters. To find the volume displaced, subtract the initial volume from the final volume.